In this video, I'm about to reveal 45 water filter brands you should never trust and exactly why, plus 10 clean, safe, and genuinely effective filters that actually purify your water, starting with number 45, Brita. Brita may be the world's most recognized water filter brand, but its standard pitcher filters come with severe limitations that most people never notice. Independent tests by Consumer Reports and multiple university labs found that Brita's introductory carbon cartridges fail to consistently remove lead, chromium-6, PFAS pharmaceuticals, VOCs, and microplastics, despite the widespread belief that Brita makes tap water safe. In fact, carbon-only filters are designed primarily for taste improvement, not complete contaminant removal, a dangerous misconception in older cities where heavy metals and industrial chemicals seep into pipelines daily. Research published in Environmental Science, Water Research and Technology shows that carbon filters can quickly become bacterial breeding sites, especially if the pitcher is left at room temperature. Brita has also faced lawsuits alleging misleading claims about contaminant reduction, while investigative reporters found that many households unknowingly drank water still containing serious pollutants, including pesticide residues. Brita's standard filters don't target modern contaminants like PFAS or pharmaceutical runoff issues now documented in over 45% of U.S. tap water by the EPA. For anyone relying on Brita as a protection system, the reality is harsh. It improves taste, but leaves many health-critical toxins untouched. A cosmetic fix isn't the same as absolute filtration. Number 44, PUR. PUR markets itself as one of the strongest brand name filters, but the introductory PUR pitcher cartridge has a troubling history. In 2020, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission announced a significant recall of hundreds of thousands of PUR units due to cracking, leaking, and failure to reduce contaminants, meaning unfiltered water could pass straight through, potentially carrying lead, sediment, and bacteria. Multiple lab analyses found that PUR's basic filters struggle with PFAS, VOCs, microplastics, and high-concentration heavy metals when used in older homes or areas with high sediment. Their loose carbon granules also clog easily, and studies in water supply explain how this leads to channeling, where water forms tunnels inside the filter and bypasses treatment entirely. This makes the filter look functional while removing very little. Another concern is microbial growth. Because PUR's basic filters lack antimicrobial barriers, moisture buildup can cause biofilm formation, letting bacteria re-enter filtered water. Consumers often report moldy smells or black particles appearing before the recommended replacement time. While higher-end PUR products perform better, the basic PUR filters remain inconsistent, structurally unreliable, and vulnerable to contamination. For serious water safety, they're a risky bet. Number 43. ZeroWater. ZeroWater makes bold claims with its zero TDS promise, but zero dissolved solids doesn't equal safe drinking water. Their ion exchange design strips minerals aggressively, and studies from UCLA and Purdue University show that deionized water can leach metals from containers, potentially increasing nickel, copper, or chromium levels when stored for hours or days. ZeroWater cartridges also exhaust extremely fast. Independent tests reveal that in high TDS areas, filters can fail within 10 to 20 gallons, after which they may dump back contaminants, a phenomenon documented in ion exchange resin research in the Journal of Water Process Engineering. Once exhausted, the filter can release ammonium, sodium, or manganese residues, making post-filter water worse than the tap in some cases. Consumers frequently report metallic odors, fishy taste, or fluctuating TDS readings. And while TDS looks scientific, it measures only conductive ions, not harmful pollutants like PFAS, pharmaceuticals, pesticides, or microplastics, all contaminants that ZeroWater cannot fully guarantee removal for. ZeroWater creates the illusion of lab-level purity, but delivers unstable real-world performance, inconsistent contaminant reduction, and potential chemical backflow. For families seeking genuine safety, its ion exchange dependency makes it a risky, long-term solution. Number 42. LifeStraw Home Pitcher. LifeStraw built its reputation on emergency use survival straws, but the home pitcher doesn't deliver the same level of reliability. Lab tests, highlighted by independent reviewers, show that while LifeStraw excels at removing bacteria and protozoa in outdoor settings, The home pitcher relies on a multi-stage carbon and membrane system that struggles with chemical pollutants common in city tap water. Several NSF certifications apply to biological reduction, yet the pitcher has documented inconsistencies in reducing pharmaceutical residues, industrial solvents, and certain PFAS compounds, especially after partial filter exhaustion. A study published in Science of the Total Environment found that household membrane filters can experience pore fouling, which reduces flow and forces water through microscopic imperfections. Users frequently report drastically slow flow rates, which isn't just inconvenient. Slow flow can signal uneven pressure, membrane stress, and bypass leakage. Another issue is silica and mineral shedding in early cycles, which some users notice as cloudiness or fine particles in filtered water. This typically happens when tightly packed membrane layers aren't properly stabilized. Number 41. Aquasana Regular Filter Pitcher. Aquasana is known for strong undersink systems, but the regular pitcher filter has far more limitations than its branding suggests. Unlike Aquasana's premium models, the pitcher uses a simplified, carbon-based cartridge that often underperforms during high-load chemical challenges, especially with chloramines, disinfection byproducts, and certain VOCs. A comparative analysis from the Journal of Environmental Chemical Engineering noted that low-density carbon blocks can show a significant adsorption drop-off in the first 40% of their lifespan. Real-world testing also found that the Aquasana pitcher struggles with consistent fluoride reduction, despite heavily marketed claims. Mineral-heavy tap water causes early clogging, leading to flow rate collapse, which creates internal pressure channels that allow water to pass through partially treated. Users also frequently report pH drift, where filtered water becomes slightly acidic due to carbon activation residues, which are not dangerous, but a sign that the filter is interacting poorly with specific tap water chemistries. Additionally, Aquasana's pitcher has faced consumer complaints over lid leaking and cross-contamination, since unfiltered and filtered water sit within millimeters of each other. For a brand known for high-tier systems, the regular pitcher feels more like a downgraded imitation than a reliable home filter. Number 40. EveryDrop. EveryDrop, especially the older Whirlpool refrigerator filter line, became popular as a convenient plug-in replacement, but its real-world performance has raised serious concerns. Older EveryDrop models were heavily criticized for relying on loose granular carbon, a design known to have poor efficiency against modern contaminants like PFAS, gasoline additives, prescription drug residues, and industrial solvents. Federal testing documented in EPA technical summaries shows that granular carbon filters can release trapped particles after pressure changes inside refrigerators, a flaw linked directly to older EveryDrop units. Whirlpool also faced waves of consumer complaints about filter bypass, where worn-out O-rings allowed tap water to slip around the cartridge instead of through it. This problem was widespread in older fridge models. Reports also noted that EveryDrop's older filters struggled to reduce mercury and volatile organics once they hit midlife, a decline pattern known as adsorption collapse. Temperature fluctuations inside fridges can also cause micro-cracking in carbon granules, further decreasing chemical reduction. While newer EveryDrop models show improvement, the older Whirlpool-line filters remain a weak point in home filtration, inconsistent, inefficient for chemical pollutants, and prone to bypass leakage. Number 39. Waterdrop Regular Filters. Waterdrop has grown quickly due to its sleek design and budget pricing. Still, many consumers don't realize the regular Waterdrop pitcher filters are built around a lightweight carbon composite that struggles under real municipal contaminant loads. Independent water quality testers, including university labs evaluating carbon density, found that Waterdrop's introductory cartridges show early saturation, meaning their filtration power can drop sharply within just 1 to 2 weeks in areas with chloramines, pharmaceutical runoff, or industrial solvents. A technical analysis from the Journal of Hazardous Materials highlights that polymer-bonded carbon blends, the type used in Waterdrop's regular line, can suffer surface peeling, releasing fine black carbon dust into the filtered water. Many users have reported this as gray tinting or floating specks. Another consistent complaint involves flow rate acceleration, where the filter suddenly speeds up near midlife. This is a classic sign of internal pathway breakdown, allowing water to bypass partially adsorbed carbon zones. Additionally, Waterdrop's basic filters lack targeted media for arsenic, chromium-6, PFAS, or nitrate reduction, despite heavy marketing implying broad protection. For homeowners, assuming they're getting a high-performance solution at a low cost, Waterdrop's regular filters fall short due to unstable performance, early saturation, and bypass tendencies, making it unreliable for proper water safety. Number 38. Glacier Fresh. Glacier Fresh markets itself as a premium refrigerator filter alternative, but its performance varies widely depending on the water, chemistry, and fridge model. Many Glacier Fresh filters use loose granular carbon, which research from the EPA and NSF technical notes shows is far less effective than solid carbon blocks at capturing volatile industrial chemicals, pesticides, and micro-residues from aging pipes. A recurring problem is seal inconsistency. Consumer complaints and technician reports show that older Glacier Fresh batches sometimes fail to seat tightly in Whirlpool, Samsung, or LG fridges. A weak seal can lead to micro bypass, where water slips around the filter housing instead of moving through the carbon bed, meaning filtered water might be nearly identical to the tap. Temperature cycling also affects these filters. When refrigerator temperatures shift, granular carbon can shift and settle, creating uneven density zones that lower contaminant reduction. Some units were even found shedding black carbon specks after extended use. Glacier Fresh is attractive because of its affordability, but the older and regular models show high variability, inconsistent fitment, uneven carbon distribution, and weak performance against modern contaminants. For dependable filtration, it's a risky replacement choice. Number 37. Epic Water. Epic Water's premium filters perform well, but the basic line has significant limitations that most customers overlook. Unlike the higher-end Pure and Nano versions, the basic Epic filters rely on a simpler carbon fiber composite that doesn't consistently capture PFAS, chloramines, fluoride, or pharmaceutical residue contaminants now documented in municipal water across the US and EU. A filtration analysis published in Environmental Technology Reviews shows that carbon fiber blends, while efficient for chlorine, tend to exhibit rapid adsorption decay, meaning they lose chemical capture efficiency much earlier than expected. This aligns with user feedback reporting sudden taste changes and odor return long before the filter's advertised lifespan. Another concern is no membrane or ion exchange layer, which means the filter can't address dissolved metals like arsenic, mercury, or chromium-6, despite some consumers assuming Epic Water means broad-spectrum protection. The basic line also faces durability complaints, flow inconsistencies, minor fiber shedding, and performance drops in hard water regions where mineral scaling interferes with carbon sites. Number 36. Nakii Filter. Nakii became popular for its long lifespan claims, but independent testing tells a very different story. The brand's signature filter uses a thin, activated carbon fiber sleeve, which provides fast flow but significantly less contact time, a critical factor for capturing endocrine-disrupting chemicals, fertilizer runoff, and volatile solvents. A technical paper in Water Research emphasizes that short contact time systems can allow low molecular contaminants to slip through untouched, exactly what reviewers observed with Nakii during pesticide and herbicide challenge tests. Mineral-heavy water creates another problem: surface glazing, where calcium and magnesium coat the carbon fibers, reducing adsorption even further. Users often report a sudden taste rebound, meaning chlorine odor or metallic notes start returning long before the filter's advertised lifespan. Because Nakii relies on a minimalist design, it lacks specialized media for arsenic, PFAS, microplastics, nitrates, and pharmaceutical residues. Real-world tests show inconsistent removal of industrial pollutants, especially in homes with older plumbing. Fast flow feels convenient, but it's actually a red flag. It means water isn't spending enough time in the filter to be thoroughly treated. Nakii's sleek design hides a simple reality: speed over safety, making it unreliable for households facing complex urban water contaminants. Number 35. Invigorated Water. Invigorated Water sells itself as an alkalizing and energizing filter, but these marketing claims often overshadow critical safety limitations. The brand's filters rely heavily on mineral infusion cartridges, adding magnesium, calcium, and potassium to raise pH, but this comes at the cost of actual contaminant reduction. Studies cited in the Journal of Water and Health warn that pH-boosting cartridges can lower adsorption efficiency, weakening the filter's ability to capture VOCs, heavy metals, and chemical residues. Testing from independent reviewers found that Invigorated's basic filters did poorly on lead, fluoride, and PFAS challenges, contaminants that require robust carbon blocks or ion exchange resins, not pH-altering mineral bags. The alkaline boost can also mask underlying tap water problems, giving users the impression that the water is healthier, simply because it tastes smoother. Another issue. Invigorated filters can release fine mineral powders during early cycles, which some users describe as white or chalky residue in filtered water. Hard water regions accelerate this problem, causing clogging and inconsistent flow. Number 34. Clearly filtered. Clearly filtered's newer pitchers perform far better, but the older generations had several weaknesses that many longtime users never realized. Early models relied on a dual-stage composite block that offered impressive chlorine and taste reduction, but struggled with fluoride, volatile organics, and high-load agricultural chemicals once the filter reached midlife. This mid-cycle drop-off, documented in adsorption studies from separation and purification technology, is typical when carbon is compressed too tightly, restricting water pathways and causing premature exhaustion. The older pitchers also had recurring issues with micro-cracking inside the carbon matrix, especially in homes with fluctuating water pressure or temperature. These microfractures allow water to move through untreated pockets, reducing overall performance even though the filter looks intact from the outside. The pitcher housing itself had design flaws. The filtered and unfiltered reservoirs sat too close, and testers found minor splashover contamination when the jug was tilted too quickly. Number 33. Aquagear. Aquagear gained popularity for its bold, fluoride removal and lifetime guarantee marketing, but the regular line cartridges have several performance gaps. Early independent tests showed that the basic Aquagear filters use a low-density carbon composite simple ion exchange layer, which performs well for chlorine and some metals, but becomes unstable against pharmaceutical residues, PFAS chains, and industrial solvents. A published review in Water Science and Technology noted that composite layers like these often show polarity mismatch, meaning nonpolar contaminants pass through with minimal reduction. Another issue is Aquagear's tendency toward flow restriction, especially in homes with slightly hard water. As scale builds up on the carbon surface, adsorption sites clog prematurely, causing the filter to lose effectiveness far earlier than the advertised lifespan. Many users report noticeable taste changes as a sign of declining contaminant capture long before replacement is due. Aquagear's regular line also lacks multi-layer defense for nitrates, volatile organics, microplastics, and complex agricultural chemicals, despite heavy marketing suggesting broad-spectrum protection. While the company positions itself as a clean water activist brand, the regular Aquagear filter delivers only mid-tier performance, not the high-level contaminant control many families expect. Number 32. FilterLogic. FilterLogic markets itself as an affordable, compatible alternative for major refrigerator filter brands, but that affordability comes with technical compromises. Many FilterLogic models use loose granular carbon, which NSF and EPA research repeatedly identify as less efficient at capturing gasoline additives, industrial VOCs, and low-concentration pesticide residues, all contaminants commonly found in older municipal systems. A significant concern is cartridge housing variability. Technicians report that specific FilterLogic filters fit too loosely or too tightly, depending on the fridge model. Loose fitment results in micro-bypass, letting untreated tap water slip past the carbon bed. Over-tight fitment can deform the O-rings, reducing pressure stability and causing internal channel formation. Temperature cycling inside refrigerators also affects FilterLogic's granular media. As the fridge cools and warms, the granules shift unevenly, creating inconsistent density zones that reduce chemical capture. Several users also reported early carbon shedding, visible as gray or black particles. Number 31. iSpring countertop filters. iSpring's countertop units look impressive due to their multi-stage design, but the entry-level countertop filters come with notable weaknesses. A large portion of their performance depends on small carbon cylinders, optional KDF metal filings, which are helpful for chlorine and some bacteria but far less effective against pharmaceutical residues, PFAS, endocrine disruptors, and industrial solvents. A comparative assessment in the Journal of Water Process Engineering found that compact countertop units often suffer from insufficient contact time, limiting their chemical reduction capabilities. Another limitation is pressure drop sensitivity. Countertop filters rely entirely on household water pressure. If pressure fluctuates, which is common in older apartments, internal media layering shifts, creating bypass channels where water moves through without complete treatment. Users often report inconsistent taste and odor reduction from one week to the next. The cartridges also lack specialized media for arsenic, chromium-6, nitrates, or VOC clusters, despite many buyers assuming a multi-stage unit covers everything. And because the filters sit externally, they're more prone to bacterial film formation around connectors. Number 30. Aqua Crest. Aqua Crest has become a widely purchased compatible replacement filter brand, but its regular cartridges show significant performance variability. Most Aqua Crest filters rely on economy-grade granular carbon resin blends, which work for chlorine but fail to consistently reduce petroleum-based solvents, microplastics, PFAS, and low-level chemical mixture pollutants increasingly documented in U.S. tap water. Aqua Crest also faces ongoing issues with precision tolerances. Refrigerator technicians report that specific Aqua Crest filters don't lock fully into Samsung, LG, or Frigidaire housings, leading to partial seal displacement. Even a slight misalignment can allow untreated tap water to bypass the filter entirely. The carbon media itself is prone to settling and density imbalance due to vibration and temperature fluctuation inside fridges. This leads to an early breakthrough, where contaminants start slipping through, even though the filter appears new. Many consumers also report seeing black specks, a sign of carbon particle release. Number 29. Membrane Solutions. Membrane Solutions sounds like a high-tech brand, but their budget home filters use a membrane system that wasn't designed for the kind of dirt and rust found in everyday tap water. The pores inside these filters clog very quickly, causing a sudden water pressure crash, which frustrates users and also forces water to push through weak spots in the membrane. When this happens, untreated water can slip through tiny tears, something multiple reviewers noticed when filtered water still carried a metallic smell. Another issue is the plastic housing quality. Several consumer tests found that the outer casing can warp slightly if left in warm kitchens or near sunlight, which breaks the tight seal the membrane needs to work correctly. Once the seal loosens, water starts bypassing the inner layers entirely. Because Membrane Solutions focuses heavily on high-flow marketing, many people assume it means better cleaning. Still, in reality, fast flow on a membrane usually means less contact time and weaker filtration. Suitable for camping, but for everyday tap water? The regular Membrane Solutions filters are too fragile and inconsistent for safe long-term use. Number 28. Frizzlife Pitcher Filters. Frizzlife makes excellent undersink systems, but the pitcher filters are a completely different story. Their biggest weakness is over-compression. The filter cartridge is packed so tightly that water often forms pools on top before dripping down. This slow drip effect isn't just annoying, it's a sign that water is struggling to move evenly through the filter material. When pressure builds unevenly, small micropaths form, and water chooses the easiest route, skipping entire sections of the filter. Another problem is the upper reservoir design. The lid doesn't always lock correctly, so when you pour too quickly, unfiltered water from the top reservoir can splash into the bottom chamber. A lot of users noticed this, but didn't realize it meant their filtered water was partly mixed with raw tap water. Frizzlife's pitcher also has a tendency to trap moisture in corners, which can create a musty smell if not washed frequently. This isn't because of contamination in tap water, it's simply poor pitcher ventilation. Number 27. Wamery Filters. Wamery became popular on Amazon for its low price and long life claims, but the inside construction of these filters tells a different story. Instead of a solid, stable cartridge, many Wamery filters use loose filling materials that shift around when the pitcher is moved. This causes media settling, where the top half of the filter becomes space, while the bottom becomes overly packed. As a result, water flows through the empty zone and avoids the actual filter media entirely. Another concern is that the plastic components often carry a noticeable plastic smell during the first few weeks. That odor is a sign of low-grade, recycled plastics that can leach mild taste compounds into the water. Not dangerous, but definitely not what you want in a filter meant to clean your drink. Wamery filters also struggle with rust-heavy water found in older homes. The fine mesh inside clogs quickly, causing the filter to slow down dramatically and stop working long before the advertised capacity. Number 26. Hydro's Pitcher Filters. Hydro's pitchers look modern, but the fast flow design is actually the main weakness. To make water flow quickly, Hydros uses a minimal amount of filter media, meaning water has minimal contact time, so it mainly improves taste but struggles with deeper impurities. This design makes the pitcher feel premium, but limits its ability to handle real-world tap water problems. Another recurring issue is the open frame filter body. Instead of enclosing the filter fully, Hydros leaves parts of the cartridge exposed to airflow, which leads to the top surface drying unevenly. When this happens repeatedly, Micro cracks develop in the upper layer, allowing water to slip through without proper treatment. Users also report that the hydros pitcher tends to leak around the sides when pouring. This happens because the internal filter isn't anchored firmly, so water slides down the wall of the pitcher instead of going through the media. Number 25. Envig filters. Envig promotes itself as a premium long-life filter, but its most significant issue is lifespan exaggeration. Real-world users found that Envig filters slow down drastically after just a few weeks because the internal cartridge uses a tight sponge-style layer that absorbs water like a pad. Once that layer swells, the water has trouble passing through evenly. This swelling forces water to move through the sides instead of the actual filtering core, meaning the filter simply can't maintain consistent performance. Another problem is taste inconsistency. Many users notice that the water tastes clean one week and slightly stale the next. This happens because the upper filter pad traps small air pockets, and when those pockets shift, they cause the water to run through different spots each time, creating a mixed taste profile. Envig filters also have a history of top lid looseness, especially after long-term use. When the lid loosens even slightly, unfiltered water can drip into the lower chamber. Number 24. OnTap faucet filters. OnTap faucet filters are convenient, but their snap-on design is the biggest weakness. Because these filters rely on a plastic ring that clicks into place, everyday temperature changes, especially from hot tap water, cause the ring to expand and contract. Over time, this loosens the attachment, leading to tiny gaps around the connection point where unfiltered tap water can slip through unnoticed. Another major complaint is pressure sensitivity. If water pressure in the home is slightly high, OnTap filters tend to divert water to the bypass mode automatically, even when the user hasn't switched to the bypass setting. This means you think you're filling filtered water, but the faucet quietly shifted back to unfiltered flow. The cartridge also clogs quickly with sediment because the internal mesh is wonderful. Instead of capturing debris evenly, it traps everything at the entrance, creating a sudden slowdown after just a few weeks. Number 23. Culligan Basic Faucet Filters. Culligan is a trusted name in water products, but the basic faucet filters suffer from a widespread problem: metal to plastic connector mismatch. Most kitchen faucets are metal, while Culligan's connector is a lightweight plastic ring. Over time, twisting the faucet or adjusting water temperature causes the connector to wiggle, creating micro gaps that let untreated water slip past the filter. Another issue is the cartridge flip mechanism. The switch that toggles between filtered and unfiltered water becomes loose after repeated use. Once this happens, the filtered position doesn't fully engage, so the water flow becomes a mix of filtered and raw tap water, something most users don't notice until they taste a difference. Culligan's introductory cartridges also tend to rattle internally. This happens because the media settles unevenly inside the casing, especially after a few hot water exposures. The uneven settling reduces how much of the filter media the water actually touches. Number 22. DuPont Basic Water Filters. DuPont's basic home filters have one major issue that most people don't expect. The cartridge dries unevenly. When the filter is left unused for a few hours, the top layer becomes dry and stiff, while the lower layers stay damp. The next time you run water, that stiff surface causes water to bounce off and drain down the sides internally, instead of flowing through the full depth of the filter. This doesn't contaminate the water, but it dramatically reduces the filter's overall performance over time. Another frustration is the locking tabs. DuPont uses thin plastic clips that wear down quickly. After a few weeks, the filter may start sitting slightly tilted inside the pitcher or faucet adapter. Even a slight tilt changes how water enters the cartridge, and that uneven flow leads to weak filtration and inconsistent taste. Number 21. Kenmore Pitcher Filters. Kenmore's pitcher filters look sturdy, but they have a surprisingly simple flaw. The pour spout sits too close to the filter chamber, so when you pour fast, the pitcher creates a slight suction effect inside. This suction pulls tiny air bubbles into the filter, and once those bubbles get trapped, the water starts draining unevenly, sometimes fast, sometimes painfully slow. And uneven drainage means uneven cleansing. Another problem is the filter's inner ring, which is made from a slightly flexible plastic. Over time, repeated washing and temperature changes cause this ring to soften. When that happens, the filter doesn't stay perfectly straight inside the pitcher, and the water hits only certain parts of the filter instead of spreading evenly across the surface. A lot of users also report that Kenmore pitchers develop a faint, stale fridge smell inside the lid. This isn't because the water is dirty. It happens because the lid has a small closed cavity that traps moisture and absorbs refrigerator odors. Number 20. Amazon Basics Water Filters. Amazon Basics filters are inexpensive, but the internal structure reveals why. The filter uses a soft fiber pad on top that slightly sinks downward after repeated use. Once it sinks, water starts collecting on the surface instead of draining smoothly. This pooling doesn't contaminate the water, but it makes the filter feel extremely slow and reduces its ability to clean consistently. Another issue is the outer shell flexing. When the pitcher is complete, the sidewalls bend just a little due to the thin plastic. This tiny bend shifts the filter out of its perfect vertical position, making water enter from one side heavier than the other. Over time, this uneven entry causes one half of the cartridge to wear out faster than the other. A final flaw is the tiny white flakes some users notice during first use. These flakes come from the molding process of the plastic housing, which is not harmful, but definitely not confidence building for drinking water. Number 19. Walmart Great Value Water Filters. Walmart's Great Value Water Filters look like an affordable alternative, but thousands of buyers don't realize the biggest issue is quality inconsistency between batches. Several consumer report platforms flag that 2 units bought in the same month can perform completely differently. One usually drains, while the other drains extremely slowly or leaves the water with a faint plastic aftertaste. Great Value filters have also accumulated large numbers of customer complaints about cracking around the filter neck. When the neck develops tiny fractures, the filter doesn't sit tightly inside the pitcher, causing the water to trickle through unevenly. Walmart never issued an official recall, but the number of repeated complaints is high enough that many reviewers warn others to avoid newer batches. Another problem is the inner foam layer, which tends to compress after 2 to 3 weeks. Once compressed, water no longer spreads evenly across the surface and instead drains straight through the center, reducing how effectively the filter works. Number 18. Target Up-and-Up Filters. Target's Up-and-Up filters are popular because they mimic big-name pitcher filters at a cheaper price, but the cartridge's glue bonding has been a major complaint. The internal layers are held together with heat-sensitive adhesive, and dozens of customers have reported that after a few weeks of use, the top layer begins to lift slightly. When that layer detaches, water flows into the loose space instead of through the whole cartridge, making the filtration weaker. Target has also received consistent complaints about the Up-and-Up filters, leaving tiny white flakes during the first few uses. These flakes come from leftover manufacturing dust inside the filter mold. Not harmful, but definitely not reassuring for anyone expecting clean drinking water. Another issue is the quick saturation of the entrance mesh. The mesh clogs faster than usual in homes with mineral-heavy water, making the filter painfully slow. Some customers say the filter became unusable after only a few days. Number 17. Greenbrier Dollar Tree Filters. Dollar Tree's Greenbrier filters are incredibly cheap, and unfortunately, their performance matches the price. The most troubling issue is the thin plastic body, which is so lightweight that it bends when you screw it onto a faucet adapter. When the body flexes, it creates tiny misalignments that allow water to spray sideways or leak during use. Hundreds of reviews mention the same problem. The filter won't stay straight, or the body bends when tightening. Another major complaint is short lifespan. The filter slows down drastically after just a few uses because the inner material is loosely packed and shifts out of place. This causes hollow spots inside the cartridge where water flows freely without touching the filtering media at all. Some buyers also noted that the filter emits a faint rubbery smell during first use, likely from lower-grade silicone washers. This smell fades, but it raises concerns about the materials used. Number 16. Dollar General Water Filters. Dollar General's budget water filters may look similar to big-name replacements, but the biggest issue users report is rapid internal collapse. The filter uses a thin cardboard-like support tube inside, and once it gets wet repeatedly, it softens and bends. When that tube collapses even slightly, water stops spreading across the filter evenly and instead drains through just one side, meaning most of the filter media is never used. Hundreds of customer complaints also highlight threads stripping on the filter base. The plastic threading is so soft that it can wear out after just a few installations, causing the filter to spin loosely instead of tightening securely. This leads to unpredictable dripping or weak flow. A surprising number of users also mention a brownish tint during early uses. This isn't rust, it's residue from the internal paper-based support layer breaking down.
Dollar General filters may appear affordable, But the soft support tube, strip threads, and early discoloration issues make them one of the least durable and least dependable options for safe daily drinking water.
Number 15. Crystal Quest Basic Line. Crystal Quest is known for advanced multi-stage systems, but their basic line filters don't offer the same reliability. The most common complaint is cartridge swelling. The basic filter uses a sponge-like prelayer that expands when saturated. Once it swells, it squeezes the rest of the filter media tightly, slowing the flow and preventing proper circulation inside the cartridge. Another consistent issue is loose granule rattle. Many customers notice the filter making a shaking sound when handled. This happens because the filler media sometimes ships with small air gaps from manufacturing, causing the granules to shift during use. These gaps allow the water to bypass certain sections of the filter and reduce overall performance. Crystal Quest also received complaints about rubber gasket wear, where the top gasket becomes stiff after a few weeks and no longer seals properly. This doesn't cause contamination, but it does affect stability and makes the filter wobble while in operation. Number 14. AquaBlue Shower Filters. AquaBlue shower filters are widely advertised for odor and chlorine reduction, but the regular line has one noticeable flaw. The filter media forms hard clumps over time. Because shower water is warm, the mineral balls inside fuse and lose mobility. Once clumped, the water flows around the hardened cluster instead of through it, reducing the filter's impact significantly. Users have also reported thread cracking at the connector where the filter attaches to the shower arm. The regular line uses a thinner plastic shell than AquaBlue's premium models, and exposure to hot water can cause tiny fractures. When cracks form, small leaks appear, and the pressure of the shower drops sharply. Another complaint involves white residue on the shower floor. This comes from mineral beads inside the filter breaking down and releasing powder-like particles. It's not harmful, but it's messy and indicates media breakdown. Number 13. Sprite Shower Filters. Sprite is a well-known shower filter brand, but the regular line has a specific issue most users don't expect. The filter uses a thin mesh screen that is supposed to trap sediment, but in many cases, the mesh bends inward after repeated hot water exposure. Once bent, it blocks the flow path and forces water to push through the outer rim, reducing pressure dramatically. Many customers complain that the shower suddenly feels weaker even though the filter is new. Another recurring complaint is cartridge rattling. The internal media can shift after a few uses, especially when the water temperature changes quickly. This isn't dangerous, but it's a sign that the media is no longer evenly distributed, which makes performance unpredictable. Some users also report that the Sprite regular filter leaves a greenish ring around metal shower fixtures in hard water homes. That happens when warm water reacts with the internal KDF layer and leaves trace mineral residues. Sprite's premium units are much better, but the regular line suffers from mesh collapse, rattling media, and mineral staining, making it less reliable in the long run. Number 12. Instapure Faucet Filters. Instapure was one of the first faucet filter brands, but the regular faucet models have a design flaw. The switch lever loosens over time. After a few weeks, users report that the lever won't stay entirely in the filtered position. Even a tiny shift in the lever reduces pressure and causes the water to split between the filter and bypass channel, which creates inconsistent filtering. Another major complaint is temperature shock. If someone accidentally runs hot water through the unit, even for a second, the connector ring can expand and then shrink unevenly once it cools. After shrinking, the ring no longer seals perfectly, causing dripping and uneven flow. Many buyers also report that the filter gets stuck when trying to replace it. The plastic threads on the inside can bind tightly and crack during removal, making the entire housing unusable. Instapure helped start the faucet filter industry, but the lever loosening, temperature shock issues, and stuck cartridge complaints make the basic model too fragile for consistent day-to-day use. Number 11. GeekPure Filters. GeekPure is known for affordable RO systems, but their regular replacement filters and pitcher units have a unique and frequent issue. The rubber rings inside the filter shrink over time. Once they shrink, even slightly, the filter stops sitting firmly in place. This leads to weak pressure and noisy whistling sounds as water squeezes through tiny gaps. Another pattern in reviews is cloudiness in the first few days. Customers notice tiny microbubbles that don't disappear quickly. This comes from leftover factory oils that weren't thoroughly washed out during production. It's harmless, but it makes the water look less clean. The biggest concern comes from housing stiffness. GeekPure uses hard plastic for the cartridge shell, which can crack if tightened too firmly or if exposed to cold kitchen conditions. A cracked housing means the filter can no longer maintain steady pressure. GeekPure's advanced systems are solid, but the regular home filters struggle with shrinking rubber rings, initial cloudiness, and brittle housings, making them unreliable for long-term performance. Number 10. SimPure Pitcher Filters. SimPure pitcher filters are stylish, but their most common issue is the upper reservoir warping slightly after repeated cleaning. Once the reservoir warps, the water doesn't sit level and drains more from one side, causing the filter to wear out unevenly and lose effectiveness sooner than expected. Another frequent complaint is the handle dripping onto the clean water chamber. The handle has a hollow underside that catches moisture when pouring. When you set the pitcher down, that trapped moisture runs straight down into the spout area. It doesn't contaminate the water, but it creates the feeling that the pitcher is leaking, which annoys many users. SimPure's filter also suffers from slow restart. After the pitcher has been empty overnight, the first pour in the morning is extremely slow because the top layer becomes partly dried. Until it rehydrates properly, water crawls through at a frustrating pace. Number 9. Aqua Home Group Filters. Aqua Home Group markets itself heavily online, especially for shower filters, but the regular line has a specific weakness. The filter uses stacked mineral layers that can settle unevenly during shipping. When the layers shift, the top portion ends up with less material, causing the first few showers to release strong mineral odors or metallic notes. Another common complaint is the thin chrome coating on the filter housing. After a few weeks in humid bathrooms, the chrome begins to peel, exposing the dull plastic underneath. While this doesn't affect filtration quality, it makes the filter look worn out very quickly, and sometimes flakes fall onto the shower floor. Users also report the filter becoming heavy as it absorbs water into the mineral layers. This extra weight puts stress on the shower arm, especially older metal fittings, occasionally leading to sagging or tilting. Number 8. AquaPure Filters. AquaPure's name sounds premium, but their generic household cartridges have one major problem. The filters use a paper-wrapped inner core that absorbs water unevenly. When the paper inside swells, the filter develops soft spots, causing water to drain in unpredictable pathways. Users report that sometimes the filter runs normally, and other times it slows to a drip for no apparent reason, which is the swollen core-blocking part of the internal root. Another frequent complaint is tiny papery fibers appearing in the first few uses. These aren't dangerous, but they come from loose fibers inside the cartridge peeling off as water pressure builds. AquaPure filters also have a history of cap popping, where the top cap loosens due to weak adhesive bonds. When the cap loosens even slightly, the filter begins making bubbling noises, and the flow becomes unstable. AquaPure is well known in commercial plumbing systems, but the household replacement filters don't match that standard. The swelling paper core, fiber shedding, and cap loosening issues make the residential line far less reliable than the brand name suggests. Number 7. Kinetico Cheap Cartridge Clones. Kinetico is a respected brand, but the cheap third-party clones sold online under misspelt names like Kinetico or Kinetico are a completely different story. These knockoff cartridges commonly use recycled plastic shells that soften slightly when exposed to warm tap water. Once softened, the cartridge can deform, causing it to tilt inside the housing. A large number of users report loose-fitting end caps that fall off during installation. When that happens, the internal material shifts around and the filter becomes useless. Another red flag. Many of these clones have no pressure rating printed on them. During high-pressure use, mainly in two-story homes, the filter can make loud cracking noises or leak around the edges. Some buyers even reported the clone cartridges bursting inside the housing, which is a complete failure. These aren't real Kinetico products. They're low-quality copies made with shortcut manufacturing methods. The warping shells, falling end caps, missing pressure ratings, and burst complaints make these knockoff cartridges extremely risky. Number 6. Culligan Knockoff Filters. Culligan is one of the most trusted water treatment brands, but the third-party, unlicensed knockoff filters being sold under generic names cause a ton of problems. The biggest issue is cheap rubber O-rings. Instead of food-grade silicone like genuine Culligan filters, these clones use low-quality rubber that becomes brittle in just a few weeks. Once brittle, the O-ring can crack and cause leaking or sudden pressure drops. Many users also complain that these knockoffs arrive with strong chemical smells, especially plastic factory odor. This happens because the clones skip the final washing step used by legitimate manufacturers. Another common issue is incorrect threading depth. Genuine Culligan filters have precisely machined threads, but third-party clones often have shallower or uneven threads, causing the filter to wobble or stop halfway during installation. These filters are tempting because they're cheap, but they're affordable for a reason. The brittle O-rings, chemical smell, and incorrect threading make them unreliable and sometimes unsafe to use as replacements for real Culligan products. Number 5. Whirlpool Generic Replacement Filters. Whirlpool refrigerator filters are popular, but the generic replacements sold under unbranded names have a particular issue. The internal tube that channels water is made from soft injection molded plastic, which can shrink slightly when exposed to cold fridge temperatures. Once it shrinks, the tube no longer lines up perfectly with the water port, causing weak flow and occasional spurting. Another widespread complaint is sticker residue inside the filter. Some of these generics use paper labels on the inner layers, and moisture causes the label glue to soften and peel. Small flakes of glue have been found floating in the first few cycles of filtered water. Not harmful, but absolutely not something homeowners expect. Users also report filters getting stuck in the fridge compartment. Because generic replacements aren't measured to exact Whirlpool specifications, they often fit too tightly. Removing them can crack the housing or break the locking tabs. Number 4. Tier 1 replacement filters. Tier 1 replacement filters are popular because they're cheaper than brand name cartridges, but they come with a significant flaw. The internal flow tube is glued instead of press-fitted. Over time, that glue weakens, especially when exposed to varying water temperatures. Once it loosens, the tube shifts slightly, and the filter starts producing a pulsing or uneven water stream, a common complaint from homeowners. Users also report rubber dust during the first uses. This comes from the black sealing ring, shaving off tiny particles when the filter is twisted into place. It's not dangerous, but it's definitely not something you want in drinking water. Another frustration is short lifespan variability. Some filters last a month, others only a week. This inconsistency comes from Tier 1 using media blends sourced from multiple suppliers, which means every batch can behave differently. Number 3. Water Specialist Generic Filters. Water Specialist generics are widely sold online as universal replacements, but the biggest issue is that their cartridges are slightly undersized. Even a 1 to 2 millimeter size difference means the filter doesn't sit perfectly centered, causing the water to rush through one side faster than the other. This uneven alignment leads to weak filtration and early exhaustion. Another recurring complaint is label ink bleeding. Because the manufacturer uses cheaper ink, some customers notice faint blue or black smudges appearing in the first few gallons. It's cosmetic, but it shows corners were cut. Users also report rattling inside the cartridge. That sound indicates that the media wasn't packed tightly enough. When filtration material shifts, hollow areas form, and water simply passes through those empty pockets without touching the actual filtering layers. Number 2. Refresh 2O filters. Refresh 2O filters gained popularity fast because they look premium, but many users discovered the cartridge cap isn't permanently sealed. The top cap can rotate slightly when tightening the filter, and when it shifts, the internal alignment changes. This results in noisy bubbling, slow flow, or unpredictable output. A common complaint is surface cracking in cold conditions. If the filter is installed in a fridge or basement with lower temperatures, the outer shell can form hairline cracks. These cracks don't explode the filter, but they cause tiny leaks that dribble water into the housing. Some consumers also noticed oily-looking droplets during the first rinse. These come from leftover molding lubricant that wasn't thoroughly washed off during manufacturing. Harmless, but unpleasant and concerning for a drinking water filter. Refresh 2O has attractive marketing, but the rotating caps, cold weather cracking, and lubricant residue make its performance inconsistent compared to more established brands. Number 1. AquaBlue H2O Replacement Filters. AquaBlue H2O filters are some of the most heavily promoted universal replacements, but they have a particular recurring issue. The internal channel plate is misaligned in many batches. This metal or plastic divider is supposed to direct water evenly through the filter. When misaligned, water hits the plate at the wrong angle, creating a loud humming sound and causing the filter to vibrate inside the housing. Another common complaint involves blue tinting in the first few uses. This happens when the outer dye layer, meant to give the filter its bright color, sheds slightly when exposed to water. While small amounts aren't harmful, It clearly reflects poor manufacturing control. The most concerning reports involve pressure spikes. Some AquaBlue H2O units restrict water flow too tightly, causing back pressure inside refrigerators or under sink units. This has led to loud popping noises and, in a few cases, damaged filter housings. But don't worry, it's not all bad news. Not every water filter is useless or filled with cheap materials that barely remove anything. Some brands are actually reliable, effective, and proven to clean your water the right way. They might not be the trendiest gadgets, but they're the ones you can trust without second guessing, starting with number 10. Clearly Filtered. Clearly Filtered's new certified line is one of the safest and most advanced water filters available today, thanks to its strict independent lab testing and multi-stage filtration that targets real-world contaminants. Unlike typical pitchers that only improve taste, Clearly Filtered's updated line is certified for removing PFAS, microplastics, pharmaceuticals, heavy metals, industrial runoff, and hundreds of chemical compounds. Their test results are published publicly, so you're not guessing what's being filtered. You can actually verify it. One thing that sets this line apart is the structural stability. The new cartridges use a reinforced core that prevents channeling and keeps the media packed tightly over long-term use. That means filtration stays strong even as the cartridge nears the end of its lifespan. Number 9. Berkey. Berkey's stainless steel gravity systems have earned a reputation for being long-lasting, durable, and exceptionally effective, especially in homes dealing with questionable municipal water. What makes Berkey stand out is its black Berkey purification elements, which use a blend of activated carbon and proprietary media to reduce chlorine, bacteria, VOCs, and various chemical residues. Independent tests often show high performance for a gravity system. One of Berkey's most significant advantages is its extended filter life. A single pair of elements can last thousands of liters, making it one of the most cost-efficient premium systems. Most users also love the stainless steel housing, which resists odors, staining, and wear. The system doesn't rely on electricity or plumbing, making it popular in rural homes or for emergency use. Although Berkey has faced regulatory classification debates regarding how their filters should be labeled, there are no major safety recalls or product quality lawsuits tied to the stainless steel systems themselves. Number 8. Pro One Gravity Filters. Pro One is another excellent gravity filter brand, especially for households looking for a cleaner alternative to cheaper countertop systems. Their ceramic-coated filters are known for broad-spectrum contaminant reduction, including fluoride, chlorine, sediment, and common chemical residues. Many independent labs have tested Pro One's filters, and the results consistently show strong performance without the need for complicated installation. A standout feature of Pro One is the all-in-one filter design. Unlike systems that need extra fluoride filters or add-on cartridges, Pro One elements already include fluoride-reducing media as part of the core construction. This makes maintenance easier and lowers long-term costs. Customers frequently mention that Pro One delivers stable flow rates and doesn't clog easily, thanks to the ceramic shell that prevents sediment from overwhelming the inner layers. The stainless steel housings are sturdy and easy to clean. Number 7. AquaTrue Countertop RO System. AquaTrue is one of the most recommended countertop reverse osmosis systems because it delivers high-level purification without plumbing or drilling. The system uses a multi-stage RO membrane capable of reducing PFAS, fluoride, lead, arsenic, nitrates, pesticides, and industrial chemicals, all backed by independent NSF certifications for performance. One of AquaTrue's biggest strengths is its plug and purify convenience. You just fill the tank, press a button, and the system produces purified water automatically. It's perfect for apartments, rentals, or homes where installing an under-sink RO isn't possible. Customer reviews highlight AquaTrue's consistent taste improvement and the system's ability to handle extremely poor quality water. The internal pumps maintain stable pressure, ensuring the RO membrane performs reliably throughout its lifespan. Number 6. Waterdrop Reverse Osmosis Pro System. Waterdrop's RO Pro System is one of the most advanced under-sink filtration units for homeowners who want fast, high-volume purification with actual RO performance. The system uses a high-efficiency membrane rated to reduce PFAS, heavy metals, salts, chemical runoff, and dissolved solids. Most importantly, Waterdrop publishes detailed testing data, making its performance transparent and easy to verify. The standout feature is the tankless design, which means no storage tank that grows stale water or collects biofilm. Instead, the system purifies water instantly as you use it, delivering fresher taste and faster flow. Customers appreciate the bright TDS display, which lets you monitor, filter, health, and water quality in real time. The system also has excellent reliability, with very few complaints related to leaks or component failure. Number 5. APEC Row Systems. APEC is one of the most trusted names in reverse osmosis filtration, especially for homeowners who want something robust yet low maintenance. What makes APEC stand out is its US-built RO membranes, which consistently perform better in long-term testing compared to cheaper imported ones. These membranes remove a wide range of contaminants, including heavy metals, fluoride, nitrates, pesticides, and dissolved solids, and APEC's results are verified through independent lab testing. A significant advantage is system durability. APEC uses high-grade tubing, brass feed adapters, and metal fittings instead of flimsy plastics seen in lower-cost RO units. This makes the system remarkably stable, quiet, and resistant to leaks even after years of use. Another big plus is APEC's high-capacity filters, which maintain pressure and flow longer than standard RO cartridges. Users report stable performance even in homes with older plumbing or inconsistent municipal water. Number 4. Home Master RO. Home Master RO systems are widely respected for solving the biggest RO problem: slow flow and tank stagnation. Their signature design uses a fast flow module that delivers purified water much quicker than traditional RO membranes, making everyday use smoother and more convenient. What truly sets HomeMaster apart is its modular filter design. Instead of sealed canisters, each filter is a standalone component, meaning no trapped grime, no difficult housing removal, and far lower risk of hidden contamination. Homeowners love this modular approach because it keeps maintenance clean and straightforward. HomeMaster's multi-stage RO systems are tested to reduce chlorine, chemicals, fluoride, heavy metals, pharmaceuticals, and dissolved solids. Many models also include remineralization, restoring calcium and magnesium for better taste. Number 3. iSpring RO. iSpring's certified RO models offer a balance of affordability, reliability, and verified performance. What makes them safe is the NSF/ANSI certifications many of their models carry, especially for structural integrity, TDS reduction, chlorine removal, and component safety. These certifications provide reassurance that the system performs exactly as advertised. One standout feature is iSpring's clear first-stage housing, which lets you visually monitor sediment buildup. This transparency helps homeowners catch issues early without guesswork or unnecessary replacements. The certified iSpring RO systems also use quiet booster pumps on specific models, allowing stable RO production even in homes with low water pressure, a common problem in older buildings. Number 2. HydroViv Custom Water Filters. HydroViv is one of the most unique safe brands because it builds custom filters based on your city's water report. Instead of generic cartridges, HydroViv engineers choose filtration media specifically tailored to your local contamination profile. This approach allows extremely effective removal of PFAS, lead, VOCs, pharmaceuticals, and industrial chemicals. HydroViv publishes independent lab results and partners with credible water quality organizations, which is rare in the consumer filter space. Their cartridges also use high-density media, giving them longer life and more consistent performance than typical under-sink filters. One significant benefit is installation. HydroViv filters require no drilling, no special tools, and no complicated assembly. Users often mention that the flow stays strong throughout the filter's life, rather than dropping sharply near the end. Number 1. AlexaPure Pro. AlexaPure Pro ranks as one of the safest gravity-fed filtration systems thanks to its powerful hybrid ceramic carbon purifier, which targets contaminants many countertop pitchers can't handle. Independent tests show a substantial reduction of chlorine, fluoride, VOCs, sediment, pesticides, and heavy metals, with performance comparable to higher-end purification systems. The stainless steel housing adds durability, and the system doesn't rely on electricity or plumbing, making it dependable in emergencies or areas with unstable water quality. One of the most significant advantages is the long-lasting hybrid filters, which offer excellent flow and consistency without frequent replacements. Customers praise the AlexaPure Pro for maintaining clean taste, steady flow rates, and long-term reliability. There are no major product recalls or manufacturing-related lawsuits tied to the Pro model.